A very good evening, dear students. Let us continue with our discussion of Arms and the Man by G.B. Shaw. G.B. Shaw, George Bernard Shaw. You must be noticing today that I have added something to the title. And when something is added to the title, that is generally known as the subtitle of the play, right? And Arms and the Man, an anti-romantic comedy. There is a reason behind which Bernard Shaw has given or added this subtitle, an anti-romantic comedy in 3 acts, on purpose that it should not merely be taken as a comedy play. It is not a comedy as such, it is an anti-comedy. How it is? Of course, I will be discussing that. Today I have taken up the main topics which you need to cover when you will be preparing your answers from the examination point of view. These are the 5 topics which I'll be covering. First is the title, then the theme, then the anti-romantic comedy, which may also be asked in a way that how is the play a realistic play, or bring out the realism in George Bernard Shaw's Arms and the Man. And then the structure, which I have already discussed. Structure is more of the 3 parts, the 3 acts, I should say, 3 acts of your play. And how the first act is performing a perfect example, or how the first act is doing justice by being the exposition to the play, what all has been done. That is what forms the core of the structure. Act 1, Act 2 and Act 3. That is what your structure is all about, right? And lastly, the drama of ideas, which is also known as, also can be said that Arms and the Man as a problem play, or Arms and the Man as drama of ideas. Now, to begin with, the first thing, of course, I have already told you as far as the title is concerned. It is taken from Virgil's Aeneid, right? Which I told you is what? It is an epic which is written on war, right? And what is being done here? Here, war is being glorified. Now, when I'm saying Arms and the Man, of course, I told you that these are the opening lines of this work, which say, of arms and the man I sing. Right? Now, what is happening here? Virgil, the poet, is glorifying what? War. He is bringing out the heroic valor of the victorious hero. Who he? Virgil. Of course, these lines, please do not forget, sometimes I may not repeat, that of Arms and the Man I sing. This was translated into English by John Dryden, right? Now, coming back to this, what has happened as far as poetry is concerned, or stories are concerned, generally, even dramas for that matter, generally war has always been glorified, right? And the victorious hero, the poet or the playwright or the story writer, always talks about how bravely, how courageously the hero turns out to be victorious. That is what is being done in this particular work, right? But our great dramatist G.B. Shaw, he has taken this title, right? These lines from this poem in ironic as well as in a satiric manner. This is what you have to remember, right? The whole thing, what I mean, if I talk of title, if I talk of theme, if I talk of anti-romantic comedy, if I talk of realism, all these things, they focus on the ironic and satiric treatment of two things. And what are those two things? Love and war. What writers have always glorified is what G.B. Shaw has condemned. And how he would have done that? Through his characters, through the ways he has presented his characters. He is bringing out the fact that love, which is considered to be at a very high plane, is false idealism. War is futile, right? He says there is nothing that can be glorified about war, right? So I will deal in detail about these two things. Now, what is happening if we talk about these two things? You know, how G.B. Shaw is saying that war is not a great thing. Love, which is merely platonic, a love which is merely spiritual, is not true. It only leads to what? It only leads to frustrations. So let us first talk of war, right? What is war? War is somehow, if we talk otherwise, is a necessity, right? People fight for being victorious. They fight against their armies. They want to win. And in that way, war is a necessity, which in a way gives a person a high stature. Let us say a high status, right? But what the reality is, this is how war is glorified. Great soldiers achieving great heights, killing people and winning over their enemies, right? All this is related to war. But then what Shaw is trying to bring out is, he says that war, we ignore the fact, when we are glorifying the war, we ignore the fact that war is bringing what? It is bringing death. It is bringing destruction. It is bringing hatred. Right? This is all what is being spread as a result of war. So he doesn't glorifies war, but he satirizes war. Right? Now, through two characters, first of all, through Sergius, how G.B. Shaw is presenting war to you. He says he is presenting you a glorified version of war, right? He is presented as a war hero, you know. His beloved Raina, she is all full of romantic love for her hero, who has suddenly been victorious in the war. Isn't it? Right? And then all those pictures which we read in the very beginning, in the very first act, that how Raina is glorifying that she will be marrying, or her betrothed fiance, her lover, he is come out victorious. Everybody is talking about him, and oh, he's the king of my dreams. Of course, that she says in other context, but over here she is glorifying him as a war hero, and she is feeling proud about it, right? But this picture of the great hero, of the victorious hero, is shattered by whom? By the fugitive soldier. And you all can very well guess whom I'm talking about. Yes, Bluntschli. Bluntschli. Right? Now, we have read that Kathleen and Lauka, they come and tell Raina about how Sergius won the war, how his victory is all being talked about, right? And when this man comes, he says, all soldiers are fools. I do not carry arms, guns. My guns are not loaded when I go to the war, right? I am fighting in the war for what? Only for the sake of money. And he says, if you think, let me tell you about a foolish incident that happened in the war, in the battlefield, in the Slivenza. You know, the battle took place in Slivenza. And what happened there? There was a foolish man. He was not knowing that Raina is betrothed to this foolish soldier, Bulgarian soldier. And what he says? He says that he, along with his army, he jumps in front of the Serbian army. And it was his luck that the Serbian army's ammunition, by accident, it failed. It did not work. Had it worked, he would have been killed along with his people. But his luck favored him, and he came out to be, their army won the battle. But then even their army knows, Bulgarian army knows, that what foolish act he has done, for which he would be kicked out of the army. But knowing his flaw, knowing his blunder, this man already resigns from his post, because he knows rather than facing demotion, it would be better he resigns himself, right? And this particular fact is very well known to Major Petkov. Major Petkov kaun hai? Her husband and her father, Raina's father. So, through these two examples, through Sergius Saranov, G.B. Shaw is he is presenting you the false picture of war which exists in the world, what everybody thinks. And through this fugitive soldier, Bluntschli, the Swiss soldier, who is a mercenary soldier, through his character, Shaw is bringing about that he's trying to prove his idea, he's trying to prove his fact that war is a futile thing. Okay, this is how war has been condemned by G.B. Shaw in this play. Okay, on these lines you have to elaborate that how Sergius is presented as what war is. He presents you the fake picture. Okay, through Sergius' character, the fake picture which people know about war is presented through Sergius' character, and through Bluntschli's character we get to know the reality of war. and through his character, G.B. Shaw is condemning war, and through his character, what he is doing, he is satirizing war and bringing out the real picture of war. Okay, this is how it is done. I will be either reading out some important quotes that relates to this, or I will be sharing what I had noted, some quotes from the text which can be used to elaborate upon these facts that I have just discussed with you. Okay, so in this way, Arms and the Man is used as a satirical as well as ironic title. In one context, it is war, and in the second context, G.B. Shaw has talked about love. He says that is why Arms and the Man. So the twin theme, again, the theme as well as the title, and again anti-romantic comedy and realism, they fall into the same category. What is the difference is how you present it. You know, the story is the same, the points shall remain the same, but what is important is, depending on the question, how you mold the, I would say, the introduction of the answer as well as the conclusion of the answer and your presentation. The main part remains this only, that war and love have been satirized and condemned by G.B. Shaw. Now let us talk of love. He is presenting to us a very false picture, which according to him is false. Why? Because he says here, through Sergius and Rainer, he is presenting to you a higher love, which is all spiritual, right? Which, first of all, what we must remember, as I told you, war is a necessity, right? Similarly, love over here, not over here, in reality, in general, love is a biological need, isn't it? It is a biological need, and this fact is ignored by these two fools, right? Because for the society, it is a great thing that a lady who belongs to an aristocratic family will be marrying a major who has come out to be, a captain who has come out to be victorious. Whereas we know, as readers, we know his reality. There are characters who know his reality, right? And the false picture which this sweet little girl, let me not say sweet little girl, but this foolish girl has made of her fiance, of the person to whom she is betrothed to, it turns out, or it is shattered by Bluntschli when he tells him the truth, when he tells her about what happened in the battlefield, what foolishness this man showed, this soldier showed. And when he comes back, she doesn't believe Bluntschli unless and until her father tells the same thing, when she learns about that, right? But then when we are reading the text, what do we find? That their love is so spiritual, right? Their love is at a, when I'm saying higher love, no, it means that if I'm in love with someone, and that person has gone to the battlefield and he comes back, I will be like mad. I would definitely make a show of my love, would like to hug that person, would like to kiss that person. But here it is outrightly, totally a different thing. If you've read the text, you'll find He is calling her, oh my queen, she is calling him the king. And once Raina's back is turned, he is flirting with the maidservant of the house. So herein lies, the fact that idealistic love is what? Full of frustration. Leading to no outcome. Isn't it? What happens? In the end, what do we see? We see that she marries, she has a heart for this man with whom she just spent few hours, right? Bluntschli. And this man, he marries Lauka. Now, remember one thing. This, of course, their relationship is one good example. Then we would say that the relationship between Raina and Bluntschli is, of course, a positive picture which Shaw wants to show us. Here, there is no wit here, there is no humor here, there is no satirization as far as this relationship is concerned. But through this relationship, Shaw is condemning the notions of love that exist in our society, right? And he says biological needs, physical needs are very, very obvious as far as love is concerned. And second thing which I want to focus on is through Lauka, he is presenting to you again the true or the real picture. The true or the real picture? In what sense? She is ambitious. She is unwilling to accept the fact that I am a servant, and she longs to marry this man. And when she marries this man, of course, flirtations and everything is there. But then what she is gaining? She is gaining a position from a maidservant to the wife of a soldier in the army. Okay? So in this way, G.B. Shaw has ironically used Arms and the Man as the title of the play. He has ironically used the lines that are taken from Virgil's Aeneid. Okay? And when we talk of theme again, the theme remains this only, love and war. And on the same basis, you will elaborate upon these two aspects. What or how love and war has been treated by J.B. Shaw as the central themes of the play, right? So I hope I've been able to convey my points which you need to elaborate as far as these two are concerned. Now, anti-romantic comedy or realism, that too will take the same points, that love and war has been condemned, or love and war has been satirized, how it has been satirized, through the characters it has been satirized, which character represents what is what you will be elaborating in your answers here, right? But when I'm saying anti-romantic comedy, there is a logic behind it, or what should I say? There is a serious reason behind why G.B. Shaw subtitled his play as anti-romantic comedy, because he did not want that it should be considered a romantic comedy. He wanted it to be considered as an anti-romantic comedy, where he is again breaking the false notions as far as love and war are concerned, right? I would like to read out something to you. Yes. Why anti-romantic? Anti-romantic because it has, I have already told you, I thought I have written something else. Anti-romantic because it has attacked what? It has attacked the romantic idealization of life. That is why anti-romantic. And why comedy? Comedy because it has exposed and ridiculed what? Ridiculed the hollowness of romantic love and heroic ideals of war. Again the same thing. Love, romantic idealization of life has been criticized, it has been attacked. That is why anti-romantic. And why comedy? Because it has exposed and it has ridiculed the hollowness of romantic love through the character of Sergius and Raina, through their relationship, and heroic ideals of war through Sergius, of course, right? And even Raina, who has her own idols as far as her victorious hero is concerned, right? Now the reason why Raina turns to Bluntschli, what are the reasons when we are talking of the play as a romantic comedy or the play as a realistic play? When we say realism, what we mean, there is a heightened level of truth or let us say reality, and these heightened truths and heightened reality, or one and the same thing, right? This heightened reality is brought forth by Bluntschli. Now why, the reason why she turns to Bluntschli is because, it is not because he did not face the bullets and his stupid, I should say his foolish, her foolish, not his, her foolish fiance, he faced the bullets, he was ready, he kind of jumped into trouble on his, because of his foolish act, right? So, because Bluntschli faces the facts, that was reason why she turns to him. She sees the real things with him. He helps her to understand the reality about herself, of course. What he made her realize, that if you are belonging to an aristocratic family, so to maintain that, it doesn't mean that you have to marry a fool who is a failure. But for you, you must be thinking in the past that he has come out to be victorious, but he is a stupid failure, a foolish in a way, right? And so he helps her to understand the reality about herself and about life. Life cannot be lived on a platonic love, on a higher love. Basic needs, basic biological needs, desires are always there, which he made her realize. And he also breaks the illusion kind of, Shaw has presented her as a protagonist of a romantic comedy, that she's beautiful and she's dreaming, every word is used, she's dreaming about her lover and thinking that, oh, he'll come victorious and we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll be married, the society will be all gaga about us and all those things. So those illusions of false love are outrightly broken by Bluntschli. So he breaks the illusion in which she was living by showing her the truth. Okay, because what was happening? She was merely facing what? She was merely facing frustration, and she was merely facing disillusionment. Even our Sergius Saranov, he too was facing disillusionment in a way, because he too was not ready to accept the fact that he doesn't love this girl, Raina. That is why at the back of her he's making love to the maid servant, he's flirting with her. So all these things, right? Now how this disillusionment or this heightened level of reality is shown to her. Both these characters, Raina and Sergius, they live in a world of romance and unreality, right? Romance which is devoid of the real needs of love. So bluntly, what he did, he presented the heightened reality to her. What Shaw has done, he brought some facts before Raina, and in this way he shattered who? G.B. Shaw. He shattered her romantic notions of war, right? And how she is told that Sergius is a fool and a blockhead, that he and his regiment nearly committed suicide, only the pistol missed fire. Further, she is told that food is more important in war than ammunition, that it is duty of a soldier to live as long as he can, and with this end in view, he should run away from the field. He was a fugitive, he ran away from the field. So in the beginning, Raina was making fun of him that he ran from the field, but then he broke all her notions of romantic war. You just can't glorify war all the time. So he ran away, he should run away from the field, and that 9 soldiers out of 10, he says, it is in inverted commas, these are quotes, these are dialogues of Bluntschli. 9 soldiers out of 10 are born fools, he says. So gradually she is made to see the facts, and her romantic ideals of war are demolished. Sergius is disillusioned by war and realizes that soldiering is a trade like any other trade. It is not heroism. This is how all this is being told to you, anti-romantic and the realistic facts. It is not heroism, but the coward's art of mercilessly attacking when you are strong and having your army at a disadvantage. So, very, very aptly, the play has been titled what? Arms and the Man, an anti-romantic comedy, right? So what do you see? If you listen to me carefully, you will find out that 2 important aspects are being twisted and turned and used to highlight almost all these aspects. Whether I talk of the title is satirized. And what is he satirizing? He is satirizing what? He is satirizing the romantic ideals of love and war. When I talk of theme, the central theme is love and war. But G.B. Shaw is not glorifying love. He is not glorifying war. He is condemning and criticizing both the romantic ideals, whether of love, whether of war. When we talk of anti-romantic comedy, I told you it is anti-romantic. Why it is anti-romantic? It is a comedy. Why it is anti-romantic comedy? And the realism is the heightened reality which Raina is told by Bluntschli. He is the one who makes her realizes the truth, whether of love, whether of war. Okay, and then I just keep structure aside. I would connect this because this again, when I'm talking of drama of ideas, this too has again the same 2 concepts. And what is happening? Shaw has presented 2 ideas. Now I think even you all will be in a position to tell before I tell it, that the romantic notions of war is the first idea that Shaw is presenting, right? And how he's presenting, through which characters he's presenting, I have already discussed with you, right? And the second is the idealized romantic notions of love. These are the two ideas that are presented in the drama of ideas, Arms and the Man. And through the characters, Shaw is bringing about these two ideas. Okay, I hope you will be able to dwell on these four topics, right? And now, before I just read out to you the points that I have jotted down, or before I just tell you some important quotations, maybe I'll share that written part with you. Structure, which I have already discussed. I told you the Act 1, it is a well knit, well structured short play which is divided into 3 acts, and the first act is of course the exposition, where the main characters are introduced and the main action has been introduced, followed by Act 2, wherein the complication is presented, all the problems related to the idealization of love, the idealization of war, and how those romantic notions, how those romantic ideas are satirized in a humorous manner through various characters in this play, is what has been shown in Act 2. And with the Act 3, everything comes to a settlement, everything comes out to be settled out. Right person is with the right man, right? And the realization, main part is the realization. Herein your problems are discussed, the conflict, what the conflict that G.B. Shaw has presented here. And what is that conflict? That conflict is of ideas and beliefs. I've written it somewhere. What is that conflict? It is between opposing ideas and beliefs. The romantic or idealistic notions of war and love, which are held by Rainer, and realistic picture of war drawn by Bluntschli, as well as practical side of love and marriage, which is expressed by Luca. Okay, so all this happens in Act 2, the conflicts and the problems, they take place, and finally the denouement or the settlement and everything fall at its place. That is what we call, and that takes place in Act 3. So if we have to conclude, in the conclusion, we simply say that it is a well-knit play, and through his 3 acts, Shaw has adroitly, that is in an expert manner, organized his play. That is what structure is all about. Okay? Now let us sum up whatever we have discussed till now. And if we talk of the title, then we talk of the theme and the realistic concept or the anti-romantic comedy. So what will we say? We know that it has been taken from Virgil's Aeneid, and what Aeneid or Aeneas, the hero, Aeneas, he was glorified and he was exalted as a great hero for his heroic valor. But what Shaw has done, Shaw chose the title to Shaw chose the title ironically to satirize the traditional heroic notions of war and soldiering which the epic romantic poets like Homer and Virgil popularized, and even other writers, right? For sure, romantic notions of love and war are outdated. What are the romantic notions? War is no more chivalry, war is no more heroism, war is no more a fight for a cause. What is war now? War has become a necessary evil which is leading to death and destruction, right? Then the use of modern weapons has made war all the more horrible. Do add to this, right? When I talked in the beginning. So the weapons, they have made war horrible. Okay, do add this. And then love. Of course, it is a biological necessity and it has been romanticized by poets and philosophers. It is rooted in the physical attraction and is a strong biological need. But then love cannot be entirely platonic or spiritual. And if this fact is ignored, it becomes merely an illusion leading to frustration and ultimate disillusionment. We can add over here, you know, what it leads to. It leads to frustration. मैंने add कर दिया है, वैसे पहले miss नहीं हुआ है. Frustration and disillusionment. Okay. Now in the play, Shaw shows why Sergius and Raina drift away from each other though they are betrothed lovers and suitable match for each other, being young, rich and aristocratic. Sergius represents outdated romantic ideal of war. These are your outdated romantic ideals and he represents this. Romantic heroism. It would have been shattered have the enemies. Now his romantic heroism, it would have been shattered had the ammunitions of the enemies not failed. It was his luck that saved him. And Bluntschli, on the other hand, he stands for common sense, he stands for realism, he stands for practicality, and he stands for wit and humor. So he has used this character in this manner. Then arrival of Bluntschli in the play or in the picture, what it brings about? Yes, with his arrival, the picture of romantic and heroic war changes. What he does, he tells Raina, he compares Sergius to be a foolish man and he calls his action suicidal action, and he compares him to the comic hero of Cervantes. Cervantes is again a Greek writer and a philosopher. His funny character, comic character Don Quixote, Quixote. This will be the quote also that I'll share with you, which we will be using in the answers. So he is comparing his comic hero, Sergius is being compared to this comic hero in Cervantes' mock romance. And for Raina and Sergius, their higher love, again we have read, I have told you this, it turns out to be frustrating and they both realize that their love is false and that their love is hollow. Okay, so this is what I had to sum up. And one more thing, when we talk of the man's essential humanity, you know what it says? War is ridiculous. It is a horrible affair in which people are mercilessly burnt alive. Sergius, instead of emerging as a heroic figure at the end, he is exposed, he is ridiculed, and shown to be a mere fool. A man of clay, easily entrapped into marriage by a mere girl servant. The supremacy not of the arms or of the heroic valor, but of the essential humanity of man is asserted. This point will come in realism also, that what Shaw has done, of course it will be part of the title, but here also you can add it, that man is essentially a creature of instincts and impulses, and his basic instinct is one of self-preservation. A soldier's staple fare is not arms of heroism, but food. And his chief concern is not military glory, but the preservation of his life. It is for this reason that Bluntschli, he runs away from the battlefield, and instead of cartridges, he carries what? He carries chocolates. Man is not at all heroic, but a pathetic creature of flesh and blood who is soon exhausted under the strain of war. Like Bluntschli, and then is nervous and frightened like a mouse. It is danger alone which can arouse action in such kind of a person. When he knows he is in danger, only then he can take some action. So, the title of the play is very apt and suitable. It is indicative of Shaw's satiric intention of exposing the illusion regarding the glory of love and, the glory of war and heroism of soldiers. He has shown the falsity of such romantic ideas. He has emphasized that man is a creature of instincts and impulses which are supreme, which are of greater importance than arms. So it is not necessary that you catch hold of what I have just read here, but you have to understand and remember what summing up I have done. Why the title is apt, from where the title has been taken, the two significant themes of the play, romantic comedy, anti-romantic comedy, why again the breaking of the notions of romantic love and romantic ideals of war, and again realism, followed by the two important ideas, how humorously Shaw has dealt with ironically treating the theme of love and the idea of heroic war. Okay, this is all what you have to dwell upon, right? Now, by now I think you must have read the text, read it, reread it, hear to the lecture time and again, and if there are doubts, you are free to ask. I will give you a couple of days after that. I would either give you presentations or I will either give you assignments that I will see what has to be done. But please don't think that we'll do in February, we'll buck up and we'll read and then we will do it. Maybe we don't have the time then, right? So please do it with me side by side as I'm doing or covering up the courses, right? So right now focus on arms and the man, and if you have any doubt you may ask. Now I will be moving on to the next text. Of course there can be doubts, there can be confusions, which are always welcome. Okay, that's all for the discussion part as far as arms and the man is concerned. Thank you so much.